Hello and welcome to my review of the Gerber DMF Tanto. I'll go through some of the specifications first of all. This is part of my re-updated series of videos whereby I go through my knife collection and redo the reviews that I made almost 5 years ago now and put them in 4K for you all. So this is the Gerber DMF Tanto. The overall length is 8.4 inches or 21.4 centimetres. The blade length is 3.5 inches or 9 centimetres. The cutting edge is 2.9 inches or 7.5 centimetres. And the weight is 6.1 ounces or 175.8 grams. So it is quite heavy actually. Anything over 100 grams is pretty heavy. It's a fierce looking blade. I mean, Gerber, sometimes you get some really good Gerbers, sometimes not so great. But this has a lot of piercing potential due to this Tanto blade shape. So I'll go through the features. It has a manual opening with this sort of ambidextrous thumb stud here. It's quite straightforward to deploy and it is a locking knife. So unfortunately, yeah, in the UK, you wouldn't really be able to carry this without a very, very good reason. It's got a reversible pocket clip. You can take this out here and take off this blanking plate and place it there, so that's great for left side carry. It has G10 handle scales. They're quite thick actually too, and the black sort of stainless steel liners inside, you can just see the circles cut out, and that is to reduce some of the weight, but most of the weight really is towards the middle of the blade. It's quite heavy, this area. The locking mechanism on here, they call it a wedge lock, and you just pull that to release it, and that slides this locking system away. Yeah, I mean, it's very secure. I mean, all locks can fail obviously, but putting superhuman strength on that now, and it's not giving at all, so there we go. Another feature it has is this pommel, sort of a triangular point, not too hard or sharp on there, and I think that would do the job, and it's held in with some pretty sturdy sort of Torx screws there. Let's have a look at the Tanto blade shape. So yeah, I mean, this isn't the sharpest at all, but the serrations are quite nice, especially in this sort of single ground serration style. But the Tanto shape is very neat, and it's a great piercer for things. So it's partially serrated, and that's a great place to put the serrations, rather sort of towards the business end of the blade. I think in America you can get an automatic version where you just press a button and the blade flies out or just comes out of the handle. So you might want to look at that. These are relatively cheap. I mean, over here, they're £19. I don't know what Gerber are selling them for now, sort of 5 years later. Maybe they are £30 or £40, but 19 quid here is a bargain, really. So I'll talk about the handle scales. They're quite grippy. They look like this sort of carbon fibre weave, but obviously they're just D10. That gives you some purchase there with some variation, but to be fair, you get a fair bit of grip on this weave anyway, but yeah, you do get more grip on this bit. It's also got some jimping on the sort of thumb ramp. Hasn't got any on the finger groove there, but it does have it on the back, so I suppose it help holding it that way. But that's quite useful. Your hand and your fingers are completely away from the blade. I do think that the blade length is a bit short. There's no reason why they couldn't have extended that serration there, or even had the serration there and then had even more of a blade flat grind edge to it. So that's a bit of a shame that they didn't make use of the whole knife, but at least your hand is away from there, and there's absolutely no danger of your hand slipping or accidentally cutting your hand. The blade steel, it probably best just having a look at Gerber's website. When I first did the original review, there wasn't much mention of it. It's this Gerber mystery steel. I mean, is it CR13 MOV? Is it, you know, who actually knows? But I think Gerber might have actually finally put the blade steel on there. So there you go. I think it is made in China. It says made in China on the packaging, so one would assume that the knife is also made there. So the ergonomics, it's quite comfortable. It's got a good size handle. The blade is pretty useful, good shaped blade. Not sure how well the blade steel will last. You can't get it that sharp, but it's a useful blade shape, and you've got sort of three sort of areas there You've got the serrations for rope and tough stuff. You've got the flat grind for sort of carving, and then you've got the Tanto shape for the piercing. So ergonomically it is pretty comfortable, but I wouldn't rely on it for long periods of time because the jimping is quite harsh, and again the liners, it's gonna, I mean with gloves it's going to be great, but without gloves you're going to be getting blisters after too long, I would have thought. It is heavy though. Moving on from that, 175 grams is, in my opinion, you probably have this as your main blade rather than a backup blade, because 175 grams is pretty heavy. So I don't know whether you could EDC this. I mean, it's definitely going to weigh your trousers down if you wanted to carry this all day, every day. So there you go. What I'll do is I'll just throw in some sort of size comparisons. So this is a similar sort of knife. I mean, I normally carry around an Urban in the UK, which is a bit smaller than this. This is the Spyderco UK PK. So it's bigger than a UK PK, but obviously UK PK is non-locking, but I just thought I'd show you the size compared to that. And then also we've got a knife at the other end of the spectrum, which is the German-made Pole Force, which is D2 tool steel and is just immense. It's bigger, heavier. One would argue it's got a sort of more punishing carbide glass breaker on there. The lock is just rock solid. I've seen someone hack away at and force away wood from sort of a pallet with this, which you wouldn't normally do with a blade for risk of it snapping or breaking or anything like that. But there you go. That's sort of two ends of the scale. I don't have a smaller sort of, I say, tactical knife than the DMF, so I just thought I'd show you that comparison with the Spyderco. And that is the end of my review. It's a great value knife. I mean, 19 quid, that's not going to break the bank, and it gives you a Tanto blade shape. I do think it's cheap, and one of the reasons is because it's made in China and you're not quite sure about the blade steel. If you wanted a cheap, sort of tactical looking knife with a black coated blade, then you can't go much wrong with this. It feels solid in the hand, it won't break the bank, it's got a number of useful features, the lock's pretty good, and the blade shape is useful in quite a few applications. And again, you're covered with Gerber's warranty too if you ever have any issues. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.